Connect. Power Connect Show. Power Connect. Power Connect Show. Your reliable program that gives you all the information you need to know about the power sector, professionals in the industry, electrical products, government agencies, the stakeholders, and many more. Power Connect Show.
It is another Wednesday evening. It's another week. And there is one thing that is as constant as the Northern Star every Wednesday evening. And that is your program, the Power Connect Show. Here is the program once again. And you know where it happens? Yeah, I mean, the station has not changed. You know the station? It's Niger FM 102.7. And of course, my name, it has also not changed. It's Ademola Ben Cranston Adegoke. And of course, you know that whenever you hear the name, you expect another one to come after. And that is the one you know as BB, Banji Busari. Banji, how is it going to be today?
Great. It's a program to look out for.
Yeah, you can say that again.
It's a program to look out for because one thing you cannot take away from Power Connect Show is our consistency.
Of course.
We
and
have
that's
never
why I said
failed.
It's as constant as the Northern Star.
That consistency is one of the key reasons why our listeners always they wait for us. So these people must come, and they always live up to expectation because this place now school.
Now school now.
And they give information every Wednesday. My name is Banji Busari, and I assured you, our listeners, of a very, very wonderful program. Our guests are already here. My name is Banji Busari.
Before we introduce the guest, or before we even go to the news and tidbits, did you watch the inauguration of the new American president?
The 47th president of the United States of America, Donald Trump. He was the 45th, and he's coming back as the 47th. I did. I watched it from the beginning.
Any takeaway?
Wow, so much to take.
So much to take away. Okay, my own takeaway is that we just have to ensure that because when you listen to his speech, you will see that everything is about America, America first, America first. Then, in like manner, we also must make Nigeria first in every way, and that is one of the aims and objectives of this program. To make Nigeria first, to ensure that power gets to everyone the way it should get to them. So we go right into the program, and then it's time for news and tidbits for the day. And the one I have here says EKEDC publishes meter prices and vendors. And the news says that Eko Electricity Distribution Company has published prices of single-phase and three-phase meters from 6 approved meter access providers, from which prospective meter users can obtain meters. As contained in a public notice by the company, the price for a single-phase meters range from 135,000 Naira 87 Naira 50 kobo to 146,295 Naira 5 kobo, VAT inclusive, depending on the custom on the meter vendor preferred by the customer. On the other hand, the price for a three-phase meter ranges from 226,825 Naira to 240,584 Naira 4 kobo. The prices are from 6 different meter vendors, as has been said. In line with the industry regulators guideline, customers are expected to first pay to acquire meters, after which the cost for the meter will now be refunded through free electricity units over a period of time. For details on the meter prices and the approved vendors, customers can visit www.ekdp.com or any of the company's social media handles.
Very vital information there. If you have the information, okay, we'll go for a short break. When we return, our guest is with
customers, we implore you to avoid tampering with electrical installations around you. Tampering can lead to damage of your appliances and our equipment, electrical fires, electric shock, electrocution, and even death. Please do not engage unlicensed electricians and technicians. If you see an unauthorized or unidentifiable personnel around our equipment, please report to us via our customer service lines on 0708 067 1170 or 0700 123 5666. Or visit our nearest office. We value the safety of lives and properties. This is a public service announcement from a co-electricity distribution company.
You are welcome back. Your twin hosts, Ademola Benkranson Adegoke and Baji Busari. We are on set here. And of course, we have another person. We are not alone. We have another person joining us. We have Mr. Dimeji Seidu from the PPM team, EKEDC, joining us on the program. And we are also expecting another person to join him. When the person comes, we introduce him. But for the time being, Mr. Seidu, we just want to say you are welcome on the you are welcome to the program. Can you say hello to our listeners at home?
Good evening, listeners. My name is Seidu Oladimeji.
Okay, yeah. The late American preacher and motivational speaker once said that when the purpose of a thing is not known, abuse is inevitable. And today we'll be talking about the right way to use meters so that people will not abuse, the meters, the use of their meters. And that is why we have Mr. Dimeji here, and we want to ask how much information, how much knowledge about the use of meters do people know? Which is the right way to handle meters? This will be the focus on the program this week. But we also went to town to seek the response, to seek the views of people about their knowledge concerning the use of meters. Let's listen to their responses.
All I do is to buy once the light finish to recharge.
Okay.
That's all I do about meter. Any other issue, will contact the PCA. That's all I know.
Okay. Right. What I know about electricity meters. Electricity meters is actually one of the way to know the rate of electricity we're actually using to avoid the exorbitant of crazy bill, as they call it. Electricity meter is actually the aspect of for PHCN not giving us huge amount of money at the end of the month, because if there's no electricity meters, PHCN will just come and be giving us 100,000, 120,000 naira, the money we have not used for. That is why meters is very, very important to have that in the office or in the house, not to avoid paying the amount of money for PHCN. I actually know, to my understanding of knowledge, on the second question, it is being fixed inside the compound and it's being monitored. You're able to monitor how the meter is being used, how electricity is being generated, how it's being used each month. You have to have the idea of how much you'll be paying next for your electricity bill.
I don't really know much about electricity meters. What I heard is they are only giving it to those that have the money before they give it to them. What I know is that it is cash and carry. If you don't have the money, you shouldn't go near it. I'm talking about electricity meters prepaid. Then about the handling, I don't really know much also, because when I asked my partner then, what he told me is that it is only those that are in charge of our local governments that are in charge of the handling. I don't even know if it is available or not, because there was a time where they said that it is when it is available that they always distribute it. But at the moment, I don't really know much about meter handling.
This electricity meter of a thing, my only understanding about it is some kind of device that do measure the amount of electricity that is being used per household or by office or by a company. Whereas that case of meter handling, it has to do with how do I get to load my meter, how do I get to know how much do I still have reserved in my meter. With that I would still be able to at least monitor.
Okay, you are welcome back. The program is still the Power Connect show. The other time I had said that the second person we were expecting in the studio was not around, but now he's right here in flesh and blood. And I'm talking of Mr. Adeyemi Awobaju. He's also of the PPM team, EKEDC. You are welcome, Mr. Awobaju.
Thank you. Good evening, listeners.
Gentlemen, it's our pleasure to have both Mr. Seidu and Mr. Awobaju here on this edition of the program. And we are focused on meter issues. Let me start with Mr. Seidu.
Right use of meters.
The right use of meters. Yeah, the right use of meters. Now, based on parameters such as payment, technology, carriage, and others, there are different types of meters. Now, can you please enlighten the listeners more on this?
There are different types, the different types of meters we have.
Currently, we have two different kinds of meter. We have the single-phase meter and a three-phase meter. So the single-phase meter has is 80 amps meter, between 80 amps and 100 amps, depending on the manufacturer. But we normally put a breaker in between the meter and the supply that have a 60 amps breaker. So that once the customer load gets to 60 amps, the breaker trips. Being the fact that the 100 amps cannot exceed more than 100, the single phase meter cannot exceed 100 amps. But because we want the meters to last for the customer, we prefer that we put a circuit breaker of 60 amps to make sure that we're able to regulate the current consumption of the customer and peg it to 60 amps. For three-phase meter, we have 60 amps into three places. Phase A, that is red phase, we have carry 60 amps. The yellow phase, we carry 60 amps. Altogether, all of them they can carry 60 amps into like 180 amps. But the breaker they have is 60 amps because you don't want the tolerance of the meter can only carry a maximum of between 80 amps and 100 amps, depending on the manufacturer of the meter. So now when I ask our consumers that before a customer will be issued a meter, we go for a feasibility survey to know what the consumption of the customer.
Come to that because of time. We will come to that. Now, you had talked about the prepaid and postpaid, but when the question was talking about certain parameters, load carriage, mode of payment, and you addressed the issue of mode of payment, which is prepaid and postpaid. Now let's talk about the load carriage, which you talked about single phase. You talked about single phase and then three phase. But aside from single phase and three phase, still talking about load carriage now, Mr. Awobaju. I know we have MD meters, we have low voltage meters, and all of that. Can you enlighten customers more on this?
Based on what you have just said, we have single phase, three phase. So those are non-maximum demand meters.
Thank you.
Then the maximum demand meter is talking of the one that handles industrial companies.
Yeah.
That companies that their load usage is above the threshold of residential customers.
Okay.
Because we have residential customers and we have commercial customers. So the maximum demand meters accommodate load above the threshold you just mentioned, which is 80 amps. So the maximum demand maker can take above that, and you can see that majorly that one handles companies, banks, all those bigger facilities, industrial estates, bigger companies that has major installations. Also factories. That's one that.
Okay, let me ask quickly. If I have a sawmill now, I have a sawmill, or maybe any kind, maybe cold room. What kind of meter am I going to use?
Yeah, when we talk of cold room, cold room now they have brought it to local use. When we talk of cold room, we have to be strict with it. Are you talking of the standard cold rooms that has the normal installed facility in terms of the cold room machine? So if it is that standard, it is maximum demand meter that you are going to install there, not the one that has all these freezers 2-3 fees that you have in that insurance.
No, we are talking about standard.
So it's maximum demand meters.
So I cannot use a 3-phase meter in a cold room.
No, you can't use it because if you put it, it will not last. Because when it gets to that threshold of consumption, the meter will trip. And if you try to manipulate it, it will get damaged.
Is it the same thing for sawmill too?
Yes, sawmill. We have different kinds of sawmills. Sawmill that operate in higher capacity. We have sawmill that what they do is more of industrial. So definitely it's maximum demand meter that can accommodate that one. Thank you.
Okay.
All right, we'll go for a short break. Yes, it's getting very, very interesting, and I'm sure listeners are picking one information or the other from our conversation. We'll go for a short break.
Dear Ogbonge Eco Disco customer, abeg make you go our website www.ekedp.com/sts and enter your current meter number to check whether your meter qualify to upgrade to the STS2 version. If your meter qualify, we go holla you back. But if you not qualify, you fit apply for new meter and the EKEDC go return the meter money to you over time. If you experience any wahala, abeg make you contact our customer experience team through the email or phone wey we provide. This na public service announcement from EKEDC. EKEDC, now we dey empower the quality of life.
Okay, you are welcome back. It's still the Power Connect show. Mr. Seidu, before the meter is acquired, the customer is supposed to provide some information that will guide the installation of the meters. So what kind of information will be necessary?
The process starts when a customer is initiating the application for a prepaid meter. We collect his data. When at the point,
is it only the prepaid meters alone or every kind of meters?
Both prepaid meter and postpaid meter. So get our details. After we might have approved your installations, for metering, we ask you, we now send an invoice for you, an invoice for you to make payments. So on the process before the meter will be installed, we call it a meter acquisition process. The process involves, we now tag the meter that is where the meter is going, the address, the SIM card. The meter we are installing is a smart meter. Why we design a smart meter? If a customer is having issue at the result of loading, you can load the meter remotely because meter have a several ways of communication. You can communicate with the meter via UIU. You can communicate with the meter via an AMI system. That's the essence of using the SIM card, attach the meter to the SIM card. You can also take information of a meter. If you cannot read the meter via wireless, via the AMI platform, you can go with the probe because each meter factory have different softwares. With the software, you can read the information from the meter, download the information, but the AMI system, you can download the information from the system and send the information to the meter.
Okay, maybe let me quickly come to Mr. Awobajo. Still talking about information that the customer needs to provide. There is this information also about load.
Yeah.
The amount of load that the premises has.
That's
so that we can determine.
That
we can now know the kind of meter to install.
Thank you very much. When it comes to that, in the old pattern of application, that's what we call Form 74. If you look at the Form 74, it has where you talk about appliances. Today, people move in 3-bedroom, maybe is managed to get it. But over time, he increased his install capacity. Yeah. So, what essence of doing that is I want to know what you are going to put in the house.
In the house.
So that you give us, I have 3 freezers, I have 10 ACs, I have this microwave, I have all those things must be taken down. With that, we can be able to calculate the ratio of your wattage in terms of usage. With that one, we'll be able to pair it with the kind of meter, whether it is single phase, whether it is 3-phase, and whether it is maximum demand.
Sorry for cutting you. Are people sincere with this?
Yes, that is where the challenge is. Because of that urgency of getting a meter, people just scribble what they like just to make sure that information has been given. And that's why we're having challenges today. Before they say my meter is burnt. It is when you now get sir, this is an industrial something. How can you have this kind of this? You not expect us to have this kind of facilities. You encounter that. So that is why it brought in this survey. But oftentimes, because when you do your survey, maybe the customer has not even moved in. and those are some of the challenges.
So you don't know the actual
you may
load.
not get the actual load. But the essence of that is to give us what you want to use, so that we can be able to provide the kind of meter that can accommodate.
And if the
your
customer
usage.
brings in a new appliance, he is supposed to inform
They are supposed
you.
to inform us. Okay,
All
I'm
right,
bringing in
the
this.
sweet or school. Maybe like say we don't cut our listeners
Okay.
away from this. I want make I bring them in now.
Okay.
Make they also ask Mr.
Seidu and Mr. Wubajo.
Awobajuk. So please, our listeners, sorry for delaying your entry. The numbers to call are 081-001-30349. Again, I repeat, 081-001-30349. Make I, before the calls come in, with regards to installation of meters, is it anyone with the knowledge of wiring or installation that can install meters, or are there people specifically trained that are what I call what I call the real professionals that can
are
actually
there people specially trained to install meters, or is it just
Anybody.
anybody that knows about electrical installation and wiring that can do it?
No, there are people that are actually
allow make no ask. Mr. Sedu dey here. Mr. Sedu, na I wan make you tackle this question.
Okay. For any meter installation, we have approved vendors that install meters. So, and each vendors have been approved from NEC, from the regulator. So, and they know how to install the meter. They know how to do the termination of the meter, because for any meter installation, the termination is very key.
It's very key.
If you don't terminate the meter properly, if the meter will not get into the threshold, the terminal might get burnt. So you have a trained and qualified installers that install meters.
So you don't just call anybody, any electrician.
No, it's from they have an approved vendor that install meter.
All right, still talking about the right use of meters. Now, what are the best practices for using electricity meter to ensure accuracy?
Like what I advise our customers, when getting the electrical devices, go for that that's energy efficient. And I always advise them that those people who are using like a washing machine, the best time to use a washing machine is in the midnight when everybody's asleep. The voltage will be raising up to close to 240, because at the peak period the voltage will drop. And when the voltage drops, because it's the voltage that does the current, that pushes the current. So, and that's the equipment devices we are plugging into the system, to the network, is want to collect the exact current it's supposed to take. If the voltage is low, and that's why I discovered that most of our homes, you see this sockets, you see some burnt. So, as a result of hot, current is about heat, because power. When power is I square R, so the current is heat. So once the resistance is very high, the current, the devices want to get the exact current.
What will that do to the meter?
Once you do to the meter, once the current is getting high, and because sometimes it might lead to the meter to get the load to get to the threshold to exceed the threshold of the recommended meter. So sometimes see some meters the breakers will trip off. And if the breaker is not an approved breaker for that meter, for the meter, you see some meter will get burnt as a result of overload.
Okay, I still want our listeners make them ask one or two questions, because this one are very, very important topic we concern them. 081-001-30349. Use it for WhatsApp, use it for landline. Please ask questions, because now now very, very the right people. We're supposed to answer questions on the meter. Now we bring today. Please take advantage. Ask as many questions as possible. 081-001-30349.
I want Mr. Awobajo to talk more on this issue of overload of meters. What are the things that people can do that will lead to overloading meters?
Actually, is in and out. When you talk of overload. Now, I want to talk of the one on the customer side. You know, some customers in their installation, that what we call looping. Maybe they have three phase.
Just hold your thought, please. We have someone online. Someone they line. Who they line?
Hello.
Hello. Good evening. This is Power Connect Show. Hello.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you. We can hear you. Please speak on.
My name is Okon.
Okay, Mr. Okon. It's been quite a while.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Please proceed.
Please speak on. We can hear you.
We can hear you. You are on air.
You are on air, Mr. Okon. Speak on, please.
Now, what I want to ask is this. I have just gotten a new meter installed.
Okay.
Towards the end of last year.
Okay.
November. But up to today, he promised to give us that anytime you load the meter, you buy token, you'll be given a refund that is targeted towards the cost of the meter. It does not happen. There's no refund until date as I talk to you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Mr. Okon, the thing is that, yes, that promise is still very much intact, but there is a timeline for it. There is a timeline for it. I think it's after 1 year, after you have acquired the meter, then you now start getting the refund. The refund is still very much in place and you will get it. That much I can assure you. Okay?
All right. Okay. Mr. Okon, thank you for your contribution. There's something called meter recalibration and all of that. What does this mean and what is important?
Meter recalibration is just a process of we test the meter with a known load.
Okay.
For us to check the accuracy of the meter. Because for any meter that can be installed into the network, it must be accredited, it must be approved by NEMSA. So any meter that has been installed, it must be approved by a NEMSA and must carry a NEMSA seal. Because those meters, before they came into the system, they go to NEMSA, they test those meters with a known load.
What should be NEMSA? Please explain to our...
Okay, NEMSA is a body that regulates safety.
Yeah.
Because they have different sectors. When it comes to a prepaid meter, they check if the meter you are bringing in, because each meter has an impulse rate. So they now check how many with the impulse rate to if the accuracy or the measurement, because every consumer wants that if I'm using 1 kilowatt, let it be that it's according to a known accuracy system. So that if some customer will say my meter is running fast and meter is not running fast, is as a result of this. Any meter that is being accredited by NEMSA. So if a meter is accredited by NEMSA, we check. We're talking about the accuracy of the meter.
Okay. So calibration is a process of getting the meter or determining the accuracy of the meter, to ensure that it's functioning perfectly well.
Yes,
okay.
Okay, before we go, I'd like to ask this question again. The red flags, are there red flags to guide us to know whether a meter is functioning optimally or otherwise?
Warning signs.
Yes, we call them, like I said, the smart meter. Like I said, you can decide to get a 60 watts. You can do manual calculation. You can do manual calculation and use a load. You can get, thank God we have 60 amps, 60 watt bulb. We have 100 watt bulb. You can use a 100 watt bulb and off all their loads. And make sure that you put only the bulb. And after a particular certain hours, calculate whether it corresponds to what you calculate and what the meter. That's why you need meter is the accuracy is intact or not.
Okay.
All right.
This
topic, no be one edition.
I think we will.
No be one edition.
We may have to bring
our
them back.
guy here, sir, even Sam get question to ask.
Maybe we may have to bring them back because we can't. We can't even exhaust all the questions. But we have to say a very big thank you to Mr. Adeyemi Awubajo and Mr. Seidu Oladimeji, both of the PPM team, EKEDC. It's been such a wonderful session with them.
Very exciting.
Very exciting. And I want to believe that even our listeners at home actually learned so much today. Well, that has been the program for today. Next week is another day that we will meet, and I say that my name, you know what it is, Ademola Ben Cranston Adegoke. Of course, Banji, you want to say a word of goodbye to our listeners at home?
I really don't have sufficient time to thank you, but I say we now do well. We were expecting you again. Thank you for your time. My name is Banji Busari. See you next week.
Dear valued customer, kindly visit our website www.ekdp.com/STS and impute your current meter number to check the eligibility status of your meter to upgrade to the STS2 version. If your meter is eligible, we will get back to you, but if it is not eligible, you will have to apply for a new meter, and note that EKDC will reimburse you for the meter over time. If you experience any issues, kindly contact our customer experience team via the email or phone number provided. This is a public service announcement from a Eco Electricity Distribution Company.
Una